Hello students, welcome back to lecture 4 of revision of class 9 syllabus. So today we will be doing iterative constructs in Java. As you all know, iterations are basically used for repeating a task more than once. So whenever certain task has to be repeated, then we have to make use of iterative construct. So under iterative constructs, you have three types of loops. That is for loop, while loop, and do while loop. So out of these three loops, the first two are entry controlled loops. Now, entry controlled loops, that is the loop where the condition is tested first, and only if condition is true, the control enters the body of the loop and executes it. Hence, it is called an entry control loop. If you recall the syntax of for and while, you can easily make out why they are called entry control loop. Now, in case of do while, the condition is tested at the end of the block. So this is an exit controlled loop where the condition is tested while exiting the block. So do while generally is used for menu driven programs where you display the menu at least once. So as per their syntax, do while will execute at least once irrespective of the outcome of condition. Whereas for and while, it depends on its condition. If the condition is false at the very first attempt, the loop will not get executed. But that will not be the case with do while, because here the condition is tested while exiting, hence it will execute at least once. So that is with respect to their syntax. Now let's try to recall the working of for, while, do while with the help of some output based snippets. Okay, so first let's see for loop. Yeah, let me. Yes. So just go through the code once and try to find the output for this question. So you can take help of dry run. You can do the dry run for the question. I'll give you some time to do that. The variable involved here are I, M, and N. Okay, so you can just write it like this. Now here, I initial value is 1, M is 2, and N is 15. Okay, so and one more thing to be noted here is, if you do not have a block, then only the immediate statement will be considered part of the loop. So this is same as this. So there is only one statement within the for block. So it is not compulsory to put it in a block. You can even write it without a block if there is just one statement to be executed. So remember that is applied in every construct, even in if, for, while you can present it the same way. Like whenever you have a single statement within the body, a single statement to be executed, you can avoid putting it in block. Okay, so whenever there is no block, assume that only the immediate statement is part of the loop. Okay, so let's begin. Yeah, so here your initial values of I, M, and are written over here. Now how your for loop works: first I is initialized, then the control goes to the condition. If the condition is true, the control enters the block executes whatever statements are written within, and then the control moves back to the upgrade expression, then to the condition. And this is how a loop is formed, which continues executing till condition turns false. So let's start here. Now when I is 1, 1 less than 5 is true. Therefore, it will enter the block and it will execute m++, which becomes 3. And then the control goes back to I++, making I2, again back to the condition. Again, 2 less than 5 is true. Therefore, it enters the block and m turns 4. Again, it goes back to upgrade expression, turning I3, back to the condition. 3 less than 5 is true. Therefore, the control enters the block, executes m++, makes it 5. Again goes back to the upgrade expression, increasing I by 1. Back to the condition, 4 less than 5 is true. Increases m by 1, makes it 6. And again it goes to the upgrade expression, turning and increasing I by 1, making it 5. Now from here, it goes back to the condition. Now 5 less than 5 is false. So once the condition turns false, the control exits the block and continues executing following statements written after the for block. Now here there is minus n. So n is decrementing by 1. Therefore n turns 14. And then there is SOPL and m is equal to m. So here you will be getting the output as m is equal to the final value of m here we got is 6 and n is equal to is 14. So in exam, whenever they ask you outputs for the code snippets, you have to just write output this way. No extra thing to be written. You have to just write the output only as per the SOPLN's statements. So this is the output of the following code snippets. Hope you could recall the for working. Okay. So let's move to the next question. Yeah, the next one is with reference to while loop. Yeah, you can just try out this. Yeah. So same way, just do the dry run for this question. I'll give you a few seconds. Please try that. Okay, so let's begin. Hope you have got the answer for this. Okay, so here the two variables are involved, I and k, and the initial values of I and k are 2 and 1. Okay, now as I told you before, if there is no block, you should consider only the immediate statement as part of the loop. So here k into is equal to I is in the loop, in the while loop. Okay. Now, hope you all remember use of shorthand operator here. So k into is equal to I is same as k is equal to k into I. Here we are making use of shorthand operator, which means this. Okay. So here first your I value is 2. Now, when it goes to the while loop, it will first check the condition. Now, plus plus I will increase I by 1, making it 3. Now, 3 less than 6 is true. Therefore, the control enters the block and executes the first statement, which is k is equal to k into I. Now, k is already assigned 1. So, k into I makes k 3. That is k into I will make it 3. Now the control again goes back to the condition. Now I again becomes 4. It increases by 1. And 4 less than 6 is again true. So the statement executes second time, where k becomes k into I, which is 12. Again, control comes back to the condition. Plus plus I makes it 5. Now 5 less than 6 is again true. Therefore, the statement executes once again, becoming k is equal to k, which is 12, k into I, thereby turning 60. Okay, now I again becomes, the control goes back to the condition, I turns 6. Now 6 less than 6 is false. Therefore, the control comes out of the while and executes the following statement. Now here there is just one statement displaying the value of k. Therefore, the output will show the k value, which is 60. Therefore, the output is 60. Fine. So this is how your while loop works. So you must have seen in both the for and while, first the condition is checked. Only if the condition is true, the control enters the body and executes the statement. Therefore, for and while come under entry controlled loops. Hope it is clear. Okay. Now let's move to the next snippet, which involves do while. Yeah. Yeah, please go through that. I'll give you some time and try to do the dry run for it. Okay, let's begin. Here there are two variables. Okay, before we start this, I'll just show you the syntax of do while. See here, first we write do, then since here we have many statements to be executed, we put all of them within the block. In the first two snippets, we had just one statement to be executed. So we did not write it within a block. Okay, so please remember that part. And here we write do, then all the statements to be executed. And at the end, while exiting the loop, we have the condition here with a semicolon. And then it will execute this way. Do, it will do all of this, checks the condition. If the condition is true, the control will again come back to the loop, execute the things again. And this is how it will continue executing the block until and unless the condition turns false. Once it turns false, the control moves out of the block and executes the following statement. So that is how you have to do the dry run for this. Okay, so here the initial value of x is 97. And here you can see many concepts here. This is type conversion, typecasting taking place. Here there is the use of break, the jump statement break, which shifts control out of the block. Okay. And there is also continues, the jump statement continue. The continue in do while will shift control to the condition part. Continue in for will shift control to the upgrade expression, that increment and decrement part, and then back to the condition. So it will continue executing the loop. Only for that particular iteration, it will shift control to the upgrade expression in case of for loop. And in case of while and do while, continue shifts control to the condition part. So please remember that. And break in for, while, and do while shifts control out of the block. Okay. Yes. Okay. Now let's begin the dry run for this given question. Yes. So first your x is 97. Now here you are assigning x to the character variable ch. So here, since x is an integer and you're trying to assign it to character, it won't take place on its own. Therefore, we need to use a typecast operator this way. So x gets converted to its char data type, and the ASCII value of the character 97 is A, right? The character with ASCII 97 is small a. So the output, it displays as A and leaves a space. Okay, this is print. Therefore, it will shift the control adjacent to it. Now, if x mod 10 is equal to 0. Now, what is your x? X is 97. 97 mod 10 is 0. It's false. Therefore, this will not execute, and plus plus x will increase x by 1, making it 98. Now, control comes here. 98 less than equal to 100 is true. Therefore, the control shifts back to the beginning and executes the block once again. Now again, x is assigned to ch. So here it was A, now it becomes B, and it will display B, leave a space, and shifts control here. Since SOP, the system.out.print is used. Now x mod 10, 98 mod 10 is 0, is false. 98 mod 10, how do you calculate that? 98 mod 10 is 10 nines are 98. So the remainder is 8. See, whenever we are dealing with integers, when both numerator and denominator are integers, the quotient you get is 9 and the remainder you get is 8. Okay, you should not go to the fractional part. You should just stop at integer part. That's why here 98 mod 10 is 8 and 8 is equal to 0 is false. Therefore, break does not work and the control comes to this plus plus x, which is not a part of if, but part of do while. So plus plus x becomes now 99. Comes here, 99 less than equal to 100 is again true. Therefore, the control goes back to do while again. Now x is assigned to ch. Therefore, ch becomes c. Displays c. Shifts control adjacent to it. Now 99 mod 10 is 9. 9 is equal to 0 is false. Therefore, break does not execute. And plus plus x makes x 100 now. Now it comes to condition 100 less than equal to 100 is true. Therefore, once again, it will go back. X is assigned to ch, making it D, displays D, shifts control here. Now 100 mod 10 is 0 because 10 tens are 100. So you get remainder 0. 0 equals 0 is true. Therefore, now break will execute and shifts control out of the block. Okay, now since there are no statements, the output will be A, B, C, D. Hope you understood the working of do while and also how break works. So let me remind you once again, break in for, while and do while shifts control out of the loop, and continue shifts control to the upgrade expression in for and to the condition in while and do while. Just remember that. So that's it. With this, you can just recall all those previous concepts which we have done in class 9. Okay. Now let's move to the program list. Now there were many programs under for, while, do while, which were done in class 9. So you can just try out these programs, revise these programs. I'm sure you must have done all this in class 9. This palindrome, like reverse, example 121. If you reverse this, you get back the same number. So this is an example of a palindrome. Prime numbers, when number of factors are just to one and itself. Example 5, 13, etc. So here you need to use the logic of factors. You have to count the number of factors and compare it with the number. Like for primes, the number of factors are always 2, one and itself. So that way you can do that. Perfect number, example 6. So if you add up all its factors, excluding the number, you should get back the original number. So that is perfect number. And Armstrong number is like 153. You have to extract each digit, find its cube, and sum it up. You will get back the same number. Such numbers are Armstrong number. And then automorphic number is, for example, 25 square is 625. So if this number is present in its square, it is an automorphic number. So even 5 is an automorphic number. So you have to count number of digits in the number n, okay, and then divide its square by 10 to the power, the count, the number of digits in it. Okay, for example, in case of 25, the number of digits are 2. So when you find its square, that is 625 mod 10 to the power 2, okay, which is nothing but 100. So you get back the last 2 digits here, and then you compare this with the original number. If both are same, it is an automorphic number. So I'm just discussing the logic in brief. I'm sure you all must have tried all this. If not, you can try it out. And in case of any clarification, we can discuss it in the live class. Then factorial of a number is nothing but the product of all the first n natural numbers. For example, 4 factorial is nothing but product of all the values from 1 to that n. That will give you the factorial of n. So this 4 factorial is nothing but 24, which you get by multiplying all the numbers starting from 1 till n. Okay, then there are some series programs. You can please try all these programs. So with this, we complete revision of class 9. And then few more topics. Anyway, we will be doing the coming chapters. So while doing programs, all these concepts will be again revised. So that's it for today's class. So with this, we complete all the 4 lectures under revision of class 9. So please revise it once again because this is your foundation. If you are perfect with this, then the coming classes becomes very easy. Okay, children, thank you so much.